Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi wassalatu wassalamu ala sayyidina mursaleen wa ala alihi wa sahbihi tasliman kathira. Allahumma salli wa sallam ala sayyidina Muhammad fātim lima ughliq wa khatim lima sabaqa nasir al-haqq bil-haqq wal hadi ila siratika al-mustaqim wa ala alihi haqq qadrihi wa miqdarihi al-azim. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billahi al-aliyyil azim. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Okay, so this is our fourth video for the seminar series, Islamic Reform and Renewal in the West, where we are examining or re-examining the book by the Shaykh Uthman Danfodio, Bayan Wujub al-Hijra ala al-Ibad. And today we're going to begin with chapter 1 in the text itself. The last three videos we established somewhat of a platform and a road that will lead us, or that led us to where we are now in discussing fiqh al-waqi', the importance of fiqh al-waqi' and understanding current events and the situation at hand, and tahqiq al-manat, understanding the context. And we spoke just briefly about something of the four personalities that, in my estimation, were or are the best models or examples for us today living in the West. And those personalities were, of course, the Shaykh himself, Uthman Danfodio, Al-Hajj Umar Futi, Ahmadu Bamba Mbaki, and Sheikh Ibrahim Niyas. May Allah be pleased with all of them. And we took something a bit from the example of Al-Hajj Umar Futi. We spoke about him and his personality, the characteristics of his movement, and galvanizing the people through the tariqah of the Tijaniyya, and using that platform as a basis for the culmination of his movement. Okay, they were the Muslims who fought the French, vigorously, which was different from the movement of Ahmadu Bamba, in which he sought nonviolence as a means for resistance against the French. And the culmination of all of four of them, that we took from them that was important for us, was that they all established a literature that their followers could adhere to, could learn from, so what they can be somewhat on the same page, in terms of their practice, their belief system, their doctrine, and whatnot. At the same time, they all established an Islamic territory by which they can galvanize and organize themselves as a group and protect themselves from any type of outside forces or social influence that would taint or disrupt the operation, rather, or the state of affairs of their own Islamic society, which is important for us, which is what we think is the best option in trying to establish reform and renewal, is that what is needed is our own home base, our own Islamic territory, just as the four personalities that we mentioned, they had set the example for us to follow. So with that, we're going to look at the Shaykh Uthman Danfodio, and the premise for his movement, in essence, was the Hijra. The Hijra was the essential component of his movement, because it was imperative that the Muslims at the time move away from the land where there was kufr and fitna, where truth was mixed with falsehood, in order to save the deen and protect the deen, and in order to galvanize themselves and prepare for the jihad and the victory, and which came in the end. So first, what we want to look at today is chapter 1 on the obligation of emigration from the land of the unbelievers. And what is needed from us is that we leave off any of our own opinions and our cultural influences right now. That leave off what you feel about hijrah, what you feel about society, politics, anything. What we want to do is look at solely what is the legal ruling, the hukum, of making a hijrah away from the disbelievers. According to the Book of Allah, according to the Sunnah of His beloved Messenger sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam, and according to the ijma' of the ulama. No one's opinion, no one else's input, just what Allah and His Messenger sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam says. Then we can understand clearly first what the legal ruling is. Once we do that and understand that, then we can somewhat chart a plan or chart a course to analyze our own situation at hand. So the Shaykh who begins, he says, Bismillah, he says, فَأَقُولُ بِاللَّهِ تَوْفِيقٍ إِنَّ الْهِجْرَةَ مِنْ بِلَادِ الكُّفَّارِ وَاجِبَةٌ كِتَابًا وَسُنَّةً وَإِجْمَاعًا. He says that verily, surely, without doubt, that the hijrah, an immigration away from the land of the kuffar, is an obligation. It's an obligation that is proven by the Book of Allah, the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam, as well as the ijma' of the ulama, the consensus of the ulama. Meaning that the ulama are all in agreement that hijrah away from the land of the kuffar is an obligation. Okay? So this is without anybody's opinion. Okay? Even the Shaykh himself. What he's doing is first he's presenting the proof from the primary sources, from the Book of Allah and from the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and from the ijma' of the ulama. So he says, أما الكتاب فقوله تعالى. He says, as for the book, as for the Quran, Allah says in Surah An-Nisa, ayat number 97. In Surah An-Nisa, ayat number 97. He said, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن الذين توفاهم الملائكة ظالمي أنفسهم قالوا فيما كنتم قالوا كنا مستضعفين في الأرض قالوا ألم تكن أرض الله واسعة فتهاجروا فيها فأولئك مأواهم جهنم وساءت مصيرا. SubhanAllah. So he says in his ayah, Allah says in the ayah, He says, surely those whom the angels were caused to die, while they were wronging themselves, to them the angels will say, in what circumstances were you? And they will say that we were weak upon the earth. And the angels will say to them, but was not Allah's earth wide and spacious, so that you might have immigrated in it? As for such, their refuge shall be hell, Jahannam. So this is the first proof of the obligation of making a hijrah away from the land of the kuffar. And so the Shaykh continues with this, and he says, قال المفسرون وفي هذه آية دليل على وجوب الهجرة من بلاد الكفار. وقال جلال عبد الرحمن السيوطي في تكملة تفسيره في بيان معنى قوله تعالى ظالمي أنفسهم بالمقام مع الكفار وترك الهجرة. The Shaykh continues, and he says, the commentators, meaning the mufassirun, the people of tafsir, the ulama of tafsir, say that in this ayah is a proof of the obligation of immigration from the land of the unbelievers. And Al-Suyuti, who was Jalaluddin Abdul Rahman Al-Suyuti, okay, who was ma'ruf, everyone should know who he is. He said, in his takmila, explaining the meaning of the word of Allah, ظالمي أنفسهم, wronging themselves. It means by remaining among the unbelievers and failing to immigrate. So in other words, what Imam Suyuti is saying, that when Allah says, ظالمي أنفسهم, that they oppress themselves or they wrong themselves, the meaning of this is they wrong themselves by staying and dwelling among the disbelievers and failing to make a hijrah to a different land, to a land of their own. Subhanallah. Then he says, as for the sunnah, okay, as for the sunnah, amma sunnatun, فقوله عليه الصلاة والسلام إن الله بريء من المسلم ساكن بين المشركين. فقوله عليه الصلاة والسلام المؤمن والكافر لا تتراءى نارهما. أوردها سيدنا مختار ابن أحمد كنتي في النصيحة الكافية. وقوله عليه الصلاة والسلام من جامع المشرك أو سكن معه فإنه مثله. رواه أبو داود عن سمرة. So, as for the sunnah of the Prophet, alayhi salatu wassalam, the Shaykh is presenting the evidence of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam and saying that Allah is free, He's quit of a Muslim who dwells among the polytheists. And He's saying that the fires of a believer and an unbeliever should not be within sight of one another. So this means that Allah has nothing to do with a Muslim who lives among the mushrikeen. Allah buri'u minhu. He has nothing to do with him. And that the fires of a believer and an unbeliever should not be seen within sight of one another, meaning that they should be so far away from one another that a campfire was set on each side, one wouldn't be able to see the other. And these two ahadith were recited by the famous West African scholar Mukhtar Kunti in his Nasihat Kafiya. Okay. Then he said, there is also the saying of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam, that he who mixes man jamia ma mushrik, man jamia mushrik aw sakana ma'ahu fa innahu mithluhu, that he who mixes or lives with an unbeliever is just like him. He who mixes or lives with an unbeliever is just like him. And these are the words of our Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam. And this hadith was related by Abu Dawood on the authority of Samara. And as for the ijma', the Shaykh simply quotes, he says from one Sharisi's book, the Mi'ya Mu'rab, which is a book of Fatawa, a very famous book, well-known book in the Maliki school. He related that the ijma' uphold the obligation of hijrah, according to one Sharisi. Okay? Wal ijma'u ala wujubi hijrati. That the ijma' is an agreement with the obligation of making immigration away from the land of the kuffar. So we can see now clearly, without anybody else's influence or any outside pressure, what Allah clearly says and what His Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam clearly says. Okay? Now, what you'll find is when people are confronted with this type of an argument, you'll find a very common thread, a very common excuse among almost all of them. They'll say, well, if you say that hijrah is an obligation, that we need to go establish our own Islamic territory, away from the kuffar, away from the disbelievers, what will they say? I was born here. My people fought to live here. My family's here. My parents are here. My wife is here. My career, my job is here. I have a home here. I have a life here. All right? This is my country. Why should I leave? I have a business here. Where am I going to make money? This is where I make my money. Listen to this. The Shaykh continues. And he says, وَلَا تَكُونْ مَرَاءَةٌ حَقُوقُ الْقَرَابَةِ وَالزَّوْجِيَّةِ أَذْرَ الْأَحَدَ فِي تَرْكِ الْهِجْرَةِ فَالْأَمْوَالُ وَالْمَسَاكِنِ مِنْ بَابِ أَحْرَى. قال تعالى in Surah At-Tawbah. Okay, in Surah At-Tawbah, verse number 24. Okay, clearly in the Quran. Surah At-Tawbah, verse 24. Allah says, قُلْ إِنْ كَانَ وَأَبَاؤُكُمْ وَأَبْنَاؤُكُمْ وَأَخْوَاتُكُمْ وَأَخْوَانُكُمْ وَأَزْوَاجُكُمْ وَعَشِيرَتُكُمْ وأموال اقترفتموها وتجارة وتخشون كسادها ومساكن ترضونها أحب إليكم من الله ورسوله وجهاد في سبيله فتربصوا حتى يأتي الله بأمره والله لا يهدي القوم الفاسقين. Subhanallah. Allah says in the Quran, Surah At-Tawbah, ayah number 24. Allah says, say, if your fathers, your sons, your brothers, your wives, your clan, your possessions that you have earned, commerce that you fear may slacken or be taken away, dwellings that you love, houses that you love. If these are dearer to you than Allah and His Messenger, and striving fi sabilihi, in His way, so that you fail to immigrate because of it, Okay? As explained in the Takmila of Al-Suyuti, Allah says, then wait till Allah brings His decree. Wait till Allah brings His decree. And surely Allah does not, He says, surely Allah does not guide the wrongdoers, the disobedient. Allah does not guide those who are disobedient. SubhanAllah. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us from those people who are obedient to Him and keep us away from those people who are disobedient to Him. Now, the Shaykh who goes into what Al-Kazin, Tafsir Al-Kazin. The Kazin has a tafsir that is very good, and which one of the tafsir that I recommended that our students at Faida purchase. He says, وفي تفسير الكازن أن السبب نزول هذه الآية قالوا الذين أسلموا ولم يهاجروا إن نحن هاجرنا ضاعت أموالنا وذهبت تجارتنا وخربت دورنا وقطعنا أرحامنا. ثم قال وفي هذه الآية دليل على أنه إذا وقع تعارض بين مصالح الدين ومصالح الدنيا وجب على المسلم ترجيح مصالح الدين على مصالح الدنيا. SubhanAllah. He says that according to the commentary, the tafsir of Kazin, the occasion of the revelation, that's Bab Nuzul, the reason why this ayat was revealed, was the saying of those who accepted Islam but did not immigrate, did not make hijrah. And they said, if we immigrate, our possessions will be lost, our commerce wasted, our dwellings ruined, and we will have broken our bonds of kin. Al-Kazin said, and in this verse also is a proof that whenever there occurs a conflict between religious matters, matters of deen, and worldly interests, interests of dunya, a Muslim is obliged, a Muslim is obligated to give preference over the matter of religion, give preference of the matter of religion, of deen, over the matter of worldly interests, of dunya. In other words, deen always precedes dunya, always. Whenever there's a conflict or a decision to be made, it must be made. It's a wajib. You must place the deen over the dunya always. Always. And this is one of the calamities that have befallen the Muslim community today, is that we get our priorities mixed up and we're not putting the deen over the dunya. And we find that our leadership has an interest in leading us to assimilate and to integrate and to dwell among people that in the long run is going to harm our deen. They're going to harm our deen. And we see the fitna that's going on in the Muslim community today. People are leaving Islam. Islam has become mixed with truth, with falsehood. People are accepting wayward ideas and ideas that are foreign to Islam. Things that normally would be haram now are becoming accepted. Definitions and concepts are changing to fit the norms and the values of the larger secular society. And this is a grave mistake on the part of our leadership. So what we're going to do is to look at further what the Shaykh says. He's going to give us some information about the Maqasid al-Sharia and where to place all of this. And we'll continue with our next video, inshallah. Allahumma salli wa sallam ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi tasliman kathira. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun. Wa salamun ala mursaleen. Walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi wa salatu wa salam ala Sayyidina Mursaleen wa ala alihi wa sahbihi tasliman kathira. Allahumma salli wa sallam ala Sayyidina Muhammad fajim lima ughliq wa khatim lima sabaqa nasr al-haq bil-haq wal hadi ila shiratika al-mustaqim wa ala alihi haqi qadrihi miqdari al-azim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So in continuing from part 1 of the previous session, we're going to continue with part 2 now, where we left off in talking about the sayings of Imam Suyuti and Al-Khazin in his tafsir about the ayah that we explained in Surah Tawbah. The ayah we explained in Surah Tawbah. Now, where Allah says, "Qul in kana aba'ukum wa abna'ukum wa akhwanukum wa azwajukum wa ashiratukum wa amwalun aftaraftumuha wa tijaratun wa takshawna kasadaha wa masakinu tardawnaha ahabba ilaykum min Allahi wa rasulihi wa jihadin fi sabilihi." This is the ayah where Allah says, say, if your fathers, your sons, your brothers, your wives, your clan, your possession that you have earned, or your commerce that you fear may slacken, dwellings you love, if these are dear to you, if these are more dear to you than Allah and His Messenger, and striving in His way, so that you fail to immigrate because of it, then wait until Allah brings His decree. And in this, Imam Khazin said that this ayah is a proof, so that wherever there occurs an issue or a conflict between one's religion and one's worldly interests, the matters of the deen, of the religion, always take preference over the dunya at all times. That is an obligation. You cannot put dunya over deen. That's haram. You must put deen over dunya. And so to this, the Shaykh adds, he says, كما يجب ترجيح حفظه على باقي كليات خمس التي هي حفظ النفس والعقل والنسب والمال والحق بعضهم إرد. قال عبد السلام ابن إبراهيم اللقاني في التحاف المريد الشرح جوهرة التوحيد. Okay, this is Imam al-Laqani. He's the author of the book Jawharat al-Tawheed, which is one of the main books of Aqidah. He says, وَحِفْظُ الدِّينَ نَفْسِ الْمَالُ النَّسَبُ وَمِثْلُهَا عَقْلُ وَإِرْدُ قَدْ وَجَبْ. He says that and the preservation of religion, the soul, wealth, and lineage, and likewise of intellect and the body is obligatory. And so to this, the Shaykh who previously said in the translation that I would like to add that it is likewise necessary to give preference to its preservation over the rest of the 5 universal rules, in talking about giving preference to the deen over the other 5 universal rules. And these are the maqasid of the Sharia: the preservation of the soul, hifd al-nafas; the preservation of the intellect, hifd al-aql; the preservation of the lineage, hifd al-nasab; the preservation of wealth, hifd al-mal; and some would add the preservation of honor, hifd al-ird. In all of this, the Shaykh was saying that the deen is most important. And he says, وَأَكَادُ خَمْسَةِ الدِّينِ لأن حفظ غيره وسيلة لحفظه ثم حفظ النفوس ثم العقول ثم الأنساب ثم الأموال وفي مراتبتها على أراض إن لم تؤدي الأذية فيها إلى قطع النسب وإلا كانت في مراتبة الأنساب. ثم قال قد وجب حفظ الجميع في جميع الشرائع لشرفها. Now, so he says, the most important of the 5, of these 5 maqasid, the most important of them is the deen, is the religion. Because the preservation of the others is only a means to preserving it. Then comes the preservation of the soul, the preservation of the nufus, then the mind, uqul, then the lineage, ansab, then the possessions, amwal. And the same importance as the latter is the preservation of honor, so long as injury to it does not lead to the breaking bonds of kin. Otherwise, it comes on a level with the preservation of lineage. Okay? And then Imam al-Lakhani said, in all systems of divine law, it is essential to preserve all of them because of their honorable status. Okay, so these maqasid, okay, is an obligation to preserve each one of them because they are of their honorable status, their high value. This is the maqasid of the Sharia. Okay? So, but in all of these, the most important, of course, is the deen. And then the Shaykh says, he says, وَإِذَا فَهَمْتَ مَا تَقَدَّمْ ذَكْرُهُ عَرَفْتَ عَنْ هِجْرَةَ مِنْ بِلَادِكَ أن الهجرة أن الهجرة بعد بلاد الكفار واجبة كتابا وسنة وإجماعا. Okay, he said that if you've understood what has gone before, what we've already said, you will realize that according to the book, the sunnah, and the ijma', one is obliged or one is obligated to immigrate, to make a hijrah from and away from the land of the disbelievers, okay, to the lands of Islam. Okay, now in this, the Shaykh is going to go into his own situation at the time where he is, or where he was, and talking about the Bilad of Sudan. Because in the Bilad of Sudan, there were a lot of territories that were questionably Muslim or questionably non-Muslim. There was a lot of fitna. At the time, Islam had mixed with falsehood. People were practicing Islam and other forms of religion. They were committing shirk. They were taking themselves out of Islam. Okay? And there was a question about slavery. Slavery was big at this time. So a question came down from the north to the great Sheikh Ahmed Baba of Timbuktu about enslaving these particular people of these particular regions. And they were according to different tribes and different clans. And the reply of Sheikh Ahmed Baba, a Timbuktu'i, okay, was recorded. The fatwa of slavery was recorded I have the book, the Mi'raj al-Shu'ud. And actually, I wrote a paper about this book, this fatwa. It's located on the Faida Institute website. You can check it there. But this particular fatwa was the reply where Sheikh Ahmed Baba identified who those tribes were that were Muslims and those territories that were non-Muslim. Okay, and he identified who could be enslaved and who could not be enslaved. So the Sheikh goes into this and into this fatwa, into this book, to the fatwa of Ahmed Baba, and discusses this according to this particular context. But this does not apply to us at this moment, so there's no need for us to go into that, because he's talking about certain tribes and other certain information that pertain to specifically the Bilad of Sudan. Okay? But we can see that for us living in the West, there's no question. We live in a non-Muslim land. It's clear who the Muslims are and who the Muslims and who are the kuffar. There's no question there. Okay? But at the end, the Shaykh says something I think is very important for us to understand. Okay? And he says, he says, ما ذكرناه من أول هذا الفصل من الهجرة من بلاد الكفار واجبة على جميع المسلمين لا يختلف فيه اثنان ولا عذر لأحد في تركها إلا المستضعفين قال تعالى إلا المستضعفين من الرجال والنساء والولدان لا يستطيعون حيلة. Okay, this is from Surah An-Nisa, ayat number 97. لا قوة لهم على هجرتي ولا نفقة ولا يهتدون سبيلا طريقا إلى الأرض الهجرة كما في تكملة تفسير عبد الرحمن السيوطي وفي تفسير الخازن في بيان المعنى قوله لا يستطيعون حيلة يعني لا يقدرون على حيلة ولا نفقة ولا قوة لهم على خروج من مكة. وقال تعالى في حق هؤلاء فأولئك عسى الله أن يعفو حتى إن مضطر في حقه أن لا يأمنوا ويترصدوا الفردية ويؤلق بها قلبه. Now, so he says, well, what we've been discussing since the beginning of this chapter with regard to the fact that immigration from the lands of the kuffar is an obligation upon all Muslims. This fact cannot be disputed, and nobody is excused for neglecting it except the weak. Listen, this is important for us. Allah said in Surah An-Nisa, ayat number 97. I'm sorry, ayat number 98. He said, except the weak from among men, women, and children who have not the means. Meaning, they have not the means, who have neither the power nor the funds to immigrate. Okay? Nor can they find a way to escape. Meaning a way towards a land into which they can immigrate. And as Imam Suyuti said in his Takmila, in his commentary, okay, this is what Imam Suyuti said in his commentary. In the commentary of Imam Kazim, explaining the meaning of Allah's word, who have not the means. What does this mean? Imam Kazim said, it means those who have neither the means, the funds, nor the power to immigrate from Mecca. Concerning the people, Allah has said, concerning such people, Allah has said, as for those people, it may be that Allah will pardon them. The commentators, the Mufassirun, the people of Tafsir, said that the expression indicating hope, okay, this expression indicating a hope, فَأُولَٰئِكَ عَسَى اللَّهُ أَنْ يَعْفُوَ عَنْهُمْ. Okay? This expression, okay? فَأُولَٰئِكَ عَسَى اللَّهُ means that this is indicating a hope. Alright, as for those people, okay, as such people, it may be that Allah will pardon them. The people of Tafsir said that this expression indicating hope, asallahu, it may be that the indicating pardon was mentioned to warn people that failure to immigrate is so grave a matter, it is so important a matter, that even a man in difficult circumstances ought not feel at ease and should be on the lookout for a way of obeying the divine precept and set his heart upon it. In other words, those people, you're going to find people say, well, look, we don't have the means to immigrate. We don't have the money to make a hijrah. Where can we go? We don't have money to go anywhere. But we're talking about going somewhere where we can go set up our own territory. It doesn't have to be far away. But people will come up with these reasons as to why they can't move anywhere. This is what they're going to say. And he says that it's true. They may be from this group of people. The question has to be asked, are we from among that group of people who are so weak, who have not the ability or the means where we cannot immigrate somewhere? Are we a part of that group? Does Allah count us among that group of people? If so, then perhaps Allah will pardon us, okay, and forgive us. But the ulama of tafsir say, even so, you should not feel content. You should not feel at ease, okay, in accepting this, because it is such an important matter that you should be on the lookout at all times of trying to find a way where you can obey this command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay? So the Sheikh says, he goes on to say in the last paragraph, Alaykum ya ikhwani, bil hijrati min bilad kuffar, min bilad kufri, ila bilad al-islami, litafuzu bil jannati, wa takunu rafiq al-abikum, Ibrahim, wa nabiyukum Muhammad, لقوله عليه الصلاة والسلام من فرد بدينه من أرض إلى أرض وإن كان شبرا من أرض استوجب جنة وكان رفيق إبراهيم ونبيه محمد صلوات الله وسلامه عليهما. The Shaykh says, he says, "O brothers, it is incumbent upon you It is an obligation upon you to immigrate, to make hijrah from the land of the unbelief, bilad al-kufr, to the land of Islam, that you may attain paradise and be companions of your ancestor Ibrahim and your prophet Muhammad, on account of the prophet saying, whoever flees with his religion from one land to another, even be it merely the distance of a span of a hand, will attain to paradise and be the companion of Ibrahim and his prophet Muhammad. May Allah send peace upon both of them. And he ends the chapter. So now we can settle down and we can see the legal ruling of hijrah, as the Shaykh so clearly and masterfully has displayed and laid out for us. The proof that no Muslim can deny this. There's no argument here. There's no discussion about whether it is an obligation or whether it is not an obligation. Clearly it's an obligation. Okay? What we have to do is assess our own situation. Okay? Are we among this group of people, these weak people, who have no ability to do or to go anywhere? Okay? And the Prophet said, whoever flees with his deen from one land to another, be it merely the distance of a span of a hand. Okay? This means that we can go to another land. We can go to another part of the land where we live. We can set up some territory. We can go to Canada. We can go to Latin America and set up Islamic territory. It's a hijrah nonetheless. Even if it's to another part of the city and set up a territory, okay, where this is a Muslim town, where we can somewhat protect the deen and do the best that we can. Perhaps, yes, it may be it's not practical that everyone get up and move to a faraway, distant land across the seas. Perhaps not possible, but we can do. What we can do is move to a territory, set up a territory somewhere. Okay, you have groups like this within the confines of the United States. You have them all over North America. Okay, the Amish, the Mormons. You have Chinatown. You have Koreatown. Where is the Muslim town? We have to set up our own home base somewhere. Okay? If that's moving to Canada, Canada is very close. Okay? But at least someone has to set it up. Fi sabilillah. Okay? For the sake of Allah. And so what we're looking at is a model. And looking at first our situation. Okay? Are we living in sin by not even trying? Our leadership wants us to assimilate and to become part and parcel of the larger society and mix with them. And this is clearly against the Sharia. Nowhere, no time in Islamic history have the ulama allowed this. Because you cannot mix truth with falsehood. Clearly. Allah says that in the Quran. You cannot mix truth with falsehood. Okay? Your deen will be in jeopardy, as we're seeing right now. Okay? So we have to come up with a strategy. Okay? And we're going to examine more of the chapters in this book of what the Shaykh says, because he gives some very valuable information. Okay? And he's going to counter some of the arguments that some other people will make about the saying of the Prophet ﷺ, La hijrata ba'da fath, that there's no hijrah after the conquest of Mecca. And the next chapter, I believe, is chapter 2. Yes, in chapter 2, he addresses this saying. Okay? Some of the ulama say that if you're born in the land of kuffar, then you have to stay, because if you leave a void that can only be filled with kufr. This is one position, as from like Imam Imam, I believe it's Imam Dirdir. Imam Dirdir? No, Imam Mawardi. I'm sorry. Imam Mawardi, a Shafi'i, said this. So the Shaykh addresses this. So there are other issues to consider here. But right now, we know the hukum. We know the hukum. And I would love to hear any counter arguments against this hukum by anyone. Okay? Anyone. Okay? Who wants to challenge this legal ruling and say this isn't true. This isn't how it is. Because this is clear what the Shaykh brought clearly from the Quran and from the Sunnah. No people, no person's opinion, this clearly from Allah and His Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So with that, we'll rest on this until our next session. If you have questions, comments, or concerns, please ask, and we'll get to you. We'll answer the questions as soon as we can. And this should make for some good dialogue and conversation, inshallah. Allahumma salli wa sallam ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi tasliman kathira. Subhana rabbika wa bi'izzati amma yasifun. Wa salamun ala mursaleen. Walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.